Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 10.33 and the current version of GGA with the air raid events. Now, I've become more and more aware of eventual total loss of all organization by German forces, supposedly with a bug that doesn't appear without GGA. I presume tested with just standard, but we give them metal for money, certainly. We give them energy for money, certainly. It's not a good number. So, not necessarily tested with just TRE, but TRE shouldn't affect that. We're now in the first of the year, right? A little bit of help so far. They gave me a save game. I haven't tried one of the I don't know, Strategos or something like that. The name is. Though it was just before the start of the bug, where I was looking for one after it. Maybe he'll reply and be able to send me or post one that has it after the bug started, because I wanted to see all of the effects Germany was under at the time of the organization loss, to see what event modifiers Germany had by looking at the save game file. I don't know if this file that he gave me is compatible with my current install and whether I could even play it, because sometimes those things just crash out and sometimes they do sort of kind of work. But maybe I could play it, then save it if I'm having that, and then go in and look at the strategic effects and track that down. If I can track, oh, that's not good. Okay, so what we're going to do here is your screen. Oh, you see, this is just very not good. Okay, your screen's going to go black. I got to get out of this. That is a not good sign. Yes, your screen is black, and we're going to experience this together. I'm going to reboot, or not reboot, restart TRE. So I've clicked all the little buttons. Load. Restart WWII 3, not TRE. Thinking what I was clicking at the time, which was for TRE. Loading databases. Ooh. Still loading databases. So my current plan is, if I can get this thing fixed, figured out, whatever, I'll probably need a restart. But what I'm planning on just trying to do is play it on my own to whatever date. We are trying to make similar choices, won't be the same, never is. But it should be before the start of any real wars or whatever. So hopefully, you can see we come up to here. We're not going to ignore the autosave because we want to replay this couple of days. The start of the year is important. It's part of the reason why I stopped when I did last episode, is to start the year with a fresh episode. Okay. All right. If I won't get the same nice trade offers, maybe better, I don't know. Yes, didn't get the Italian. Desire for energy. And that is just a straight up crash. Okay, I'm going to remove the two autosaves. Or actually just move them. No, I'm just going to delete them. Delete the two autosaves. Going to come up to logs. Delete the logs. And restart here again. Wait, that one. Don't want third rec events work because third rec events work is a work in progress version of it, and we don't want to have two third rec events trying to run. Reading checksum. Reading world. Okay. Auto saves weekly never apply. Never really play. I mean, yeah, never is a harsh statement. I don't play normally without monthly auto saves, just as sort of a, because it's habits from the olden days. Just playing for a long time and then periodically. I mean, long time as in both number of literally days. Used to be, then I still something around of a what do you call it? When you have an effect, it's going to last for 365 days. Sometimes when you do a restart, it starts the counter over again. More of a problem with Hoi 3 than any mod, but I don't know that that's as much a problem as it used to be. And so I'd leave this game running, and it was much more stable, and I could just alt tab in and out of it. And so for days and days and days, it would run before whenever I restarted my computer. And just long time playing before, not making any. Okay, now things seem to be working all right. Second show trial. And so, but then occasionally something would go horribly wrong, either a crash or me just clicking a very, very bad choice, like no need or whatever, when I wanted to do the other. Or, yep, okay, looking at supplies, metal, we can do this. Big chunk into there. I'm also waiting for the effects to come up of well, that'll help considerably for not having national. That's what I was waiting for it to happen. So now we're under all these bad effects. Okay. IG Farben plant at Ludwigshafen use large amounts of coal to produce various synthetic materials, including oil. Should we build this facility? We build the plant. Lots of energy because it's taking up the coal, supplies, metal, but we'll get crude oil there and rares extraction, which I sort of take as synthetic rubber type things. So yes. Now let's. Okay. Okay. How do best find this quickly? I came over to the economic one. I don't remember. So that's set in LUD. Is there a I think province finding name. Okay, well, just zoom in here enough. Not Lubeck, but it was LU, if I'm not mistaken. What I remember. I'm sorry, German, if your German's. There we go. Okay, so we now have where's extraction and crude oil here. We're going to throw on an oil rig. Put that into production. It's just going to be one, so the oil rig won't be all that useful to us, shall we say, but when it becomes critical, it will supply what it will supply. So I don't know if the return on investment is great or not, but still. Okay, so now we're under the negative effects of not having the annual national focus picked. So we're going to go in our annual national recruiting policy. We're going to come here and pick balanced approach. Hopefully the next day. We've lost those effects. Yay. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, now annual national espionage focus. Again, I'm just doing economics mostly for the 1% boost because I really don't use spies that much. And economic boost. The first year, I advise very strongly using short-term investment, which will bump up your ICs by 10%. Now that we have researched the first, I think, a giant infrastructure project here, we're researching the second one. We want to do a long-term because to have that, which will help our money and reduce our ICs a little bit, but that will allow you to be able to, once you have enough of, I think it's money, but enough whatever resources you need to trigger it. Well, I may have changed it for my version here. Yes, we will give you fuel. Allow you to pick one of those big projects. 3 of them I think are worth it. The 4th I don't know was really worth it, but yeah. Okay, annual national focus. Right, we're going to again do Reich economics at this stage of it. We very well may do some of these others later on. Science, I just think we have enough research going as it is, so I don't do science. Revolt risk, money, yeah, money would be really great, but resources, that could be a good thing, but unfortunately it doesn't include oil, but it would help with the rares problem. But the rares is sort of a bit of a problem, but we'll do economics. Okay, we're gonna go long term. Oh wow, so we got, again, don't worry about those where it says lose. You're just going to get it. Heavy manufacturing in Dusseldorf, Dortmund, and Berlin, and one in Berlin, Königsberg, and Kassel. So, but yes, we will also lose 5% ICs through the year, but hopefully those other ones will continue. Dortmund, got there and there, so we are fully cranking ahead there. At least I think. If somebody wants to do some better math to find out those 3 ICs and 3 heavy ICs isn't worth the 5% or whatever, and want to do something else, yeah, maybe they, could come up and I would believe their math, but it just seems like the right thing to do. Okay, well, Brazil, no, we would give them money in exchange for rare materials. Okay, 15. Now we're going to go, nope, because we want to get to 2,000 to 3,000 money in the bank. Die Kraftfahrer Kampftruppe. This is a magazine cover example in some of the, insides advertisements, and you can barely see it forward here. Some discussion. I mean, obviously there's lots of text discussion, but some examples of what to do for motorized warfare. And so this is an internal army publication. I don't know that it was secret or anything like that necessarily, though I don't think, and please notice my language carefully when I say I think or whatnot. That's it's maybe an educated guess, but it's just still a guess. I don't think it was like just generally available to anybody in the public who wanted to get it, but I presume that without too much difficulty, other intelligence services, can pick these up. And so the French and the British and whoever else could be reading this magazine as well, the Soviets, whatnot. I presume so. I don't know so. But I look at this magazine as it could just be that I haven't looked closely. It could be. But I have never seen something being published anywhere in January 37, 38, 39, by the British, by the French, by the Americans, by the Soviets as equivalent to this for their military, serious motorized combat troops is what, or the, I guess, basically the Kraftfahrer, Kraft is like car or whatever, combat troops there. So, motorized or car, however you want to try to literally or figuratively translate it to, but motorized combat troops, I think is relatively correct. A monthly magazine on military motor units, published for the Oberkommando des Heeres for the distribution to military units. Articles and features in the magazine include 25 years of tanks, motorcycle with sidecars, or lightweight trucks, like an article, which is better, motorcycle sidecar or lightweight trucks. Broaches the concept of Volkswagen, Kubelwagen, or Jeep. I guess that's what they mean by light trucks. Armed forces, Wehrmacht, in motorsport and off-roading, etc. So I don't know of a publication either for or by, say, the U.S. Army at this time that was a monthly magazine talking about motorized warfare. It very well may exist, and I would love for you to post links to something like this, whether it's for the English or any significant, because I don't think Bolivia was producing anything like this, but any nations like this, if this existed, I would just be curious to know and have a few, I mean, I'm not asking you to give me, if you have or know of original examples of it, but just, some photos like this that I found on the web, because this was for sale on a website somewhere, and I just grabbed the graphical images out of it and the description. And so I look at this as part of the process. Experience teaches you. Okay, experience teaches you. So whether it's experience being trained or experience in combat, that teaches you. But when you learn something that experience taught you, that doesn't mean somebody else learned that lesson, whatever that lesson may be. And so this is part of the process, because you could then take you and turn you into a trainer or a unit leader or whatever. But this is part of the dissemination process of thoughts on this. So I look at this as for a little bit of publishing cost, supplies, getting out to the Army generally, and not just to the motorized troops, but training the Army in the idea of what motorized and combined arms will be. So I see that as and I don't want to like unbalance the game because they may already just by simply having. And this again, I'm always looking for more historical accuracy in my mods or the games I want to play. But part of what is already here, I presume, either in the base game or in the mod, is the idea that Germany has more leadership than, say, the Dutch do. It just allows them to do spies and all the different research. But so, without overly, we would give no. If we get over 20, I might buy some other stuff. But we give yes. So I'm just sort of looking as a way for immersion and to better represent the historical accuracy without unbalancing the balance of the game as so far. But Germany should have, because I will say this, and you can prove me wrong, and I'm sure the cavalry units of the French army were much better at this. But generally speaking, and I don't know how good the cavalry units in France were mostly motorized, I believe, by around this time. I'm not as familiar. I know the sort of cavalry units in England were, motorized. They weren't, guys riding around with horses and swords trying to, attack people. They just carried on the traditions. But from all that I get, and everything that I've read, heard, seen, documentaries, whatever, on France, is they had trucks. Yeah, they moved units by trucks. And yeah, they had, tanks, but those were sort of tanks supporting walking infantry. There wasn't the idea of motorized combat, the idea that your reserve, whatever, company, battalion, or whatever, is going to be tactically moved in the area where bullets are flying around by trucks. Now, troops sitting on trucks and bullets are flying around, they're going to get just shot up. But you could still, train to how close can you relatively safely get your troops in trucks to near the combat and get them out and get them ready to attack or defend rapidly without bungling it, either driving into, we drove too close and we all got machine gunned up, or, we stopped and we still have half a mile to walk. And by the time we walked that half a mile, the decision that we were reinforcing we were either reinforcing the defense or reinforcing the attack is already decided. The battle's won or lost before we got there, kind of thing. Where if you got motorized, and this is why a motorized unit of equal numbers of artillery pieces, equal numbers of anti-tank pieces, equal numbers of infantry soldiers that are designed to carry rifles or machine guns, not just equal, because you also have people supporting the motorization of it, of course, but equal size combat forces. A motorized unit is more powerful than significantly more powerful than a pure leg unit. Unless you're going to design, we have a motorized fortress defense unit, or we're just entirely entrenching or something like that. Unless it's something odd like that, a motorized unit is always going to be more powerful because you can shift your forces much more rapidly. If your artillery pieces can much more quickly, your artillery can only shoot so far. And to be able to concentrate your artillery for your, say, divisional size, you can either spread it out to cover your whole divisional area, say, or you can concentrate it and overwhelm fire in one part. But if you've got to limber them up on horses and walk the horses over to wherever, unlimber them, figure the whole thing out and get set up again, where if you drive and do it in 10% of the time, 20% of the time that it took to do it with horses, you can use those guns in multiple locations. So it's, in effect, equal to more guns than the same number of guns towed by horses. It may not be equal to double the number of guns, but it's equal to more. So properly handled, fully motorized units, or even partially motorized units, but ones that integrate the motorization into the combat tactics, are more powerful. And I just don't see that. I see that happening in Britain. The British Expeditionary Force, the BEF, was, to the best of my knowledge, fully motorized they did not, in the sense that they did not use any animal transport. I am not saying, I'm not sure, just here's again, listen to my language, I'm not sure whether they could literally put all of the troops, all of the basic supplies, all of the artillery and everything else for all of the divisions and just drive. Because obviously there's always more supplies that, supply trucks, or, trucks doing the supply, fill up, move to a place, unload, and then, go back and get more. So you can never fully, get all of your supply. But for, I don't know, for a day, 5 days, whatever, of combat usage of ammunition, food, whatever the term is, are you fully motorized to get that plus all of your combat elements and driving all at the same time? I'm not sure. I do know that basically all the units of the BEF had motorization. Now, does that mean they can carry all their supplies and transport all their infantry at the same time? I don't know. Or maybe they move the infantry, drop them off, go back and get supplies with some or all of the trucks, but it's not like the German army was still, throughout the whole war, primarily an animal, rail and animal. I'm going to have to specify rail. It's one thing that's not talked about enough in for the transport. And the Panzer Museum in Munster, one of its very first displays that it has in going in is a display of a horse, because the museum director there wants to emphasize, no matter how much the propaganda at the time focuses on motorization, or we today, whether playing games like War Thunder or just models of tanks and aircraft, think of motorization, still the primary means of transport in a sort of tactical sense was the horse. But strategically, it was the train, and even the sort of intermediate steps there, the train was still very, very important. So most of the supplies that reach the Russian front do not come there via horse. They come there via train to the front area, and then in the front area or areas or however you want to define it, they go from the train to the horse. Most supplies do that. So most supplies maybe travel part of the distance on a horse, or on a wagon towed by a horse, not literally on the horse anymore so much. So yes, it was used as a primary supply method, and of course, outside of the cavalry units, only one proper German division of cavalry. The rest were reconnaissance battalions or whatever within an infantry division, or often foreign troops that were in the service of the Wehrmacht, or cavalry, the Cossack units and whatnot. Waffen-SS did a bunch of cavalry units that had horses. Then a lot of the Waffen-SS units were trying to cavalry units were trying to motorize to what degree they could, but they were still horse-mounted troops as well. And so, motorization, tactical training idea is a very, very important and part of the particular key to success for Germany against France. Okay. Heavy anti-aircraft guns. Okay, that looks like that is for I want to make sure it's either one and done or grayed out or whatever. I know we're not overly going ahead, but so what is for? There's armament for we're in submarines. I should be in the right place. Okay. Okay, it's grayed out. And we're just still something of a deficit here a little bit. Okay, just tiny bit. Not really. Okay. The Paris expedition preparations. That Spear, he designs the big hull. How big? We're going to spend money because we're having this done in Paris. So it's going to cost foreign exchange. Another hit to it, minor. Okay, yes, metal supplies to build the pavilion. How big? Not if the Soviet pavilion was directly across from the National Socialist pavilion in Paris. I'm sure the decision was made by the French organizers. And I don't know if that's sort of a, well, if the Nazis are showing up, we'll counterbalance it with the communists, get them their counter perspective, or whether it's just two powerful nations demanding prime real estate. Well, I want this spot. Okay, well, I want the spot right across the way, is sort of, and they were sort of prime real estate in the area of that. Okay, dual purpose guns, which I think is it a one and done? Right here, okay, 39. Yeah, no, it isn't. I should have looked up there to know that. Okay, so, and no, we're not going to come back and do this just yet, even though we may be 37. We're going to look more at 37 technologies, just really sort of plow heavily into, no, I am thinking about starting these now. Well, I think I am, because we're doing pretty good on 37. And most of the 37s either are being done, or could do that now, but it's not that important. Or not critical to the game at the moment, meaning how good my artillery carriage is now don't really matter. But say this is going to take the longest, my rare minerals refining techniques. Getting that done now would help. The sooner that's done would actually help us now. So whose army was more powerful in 1940? Well, we're discounting the Soviets because no one was fighting them really at the Soviet. And then how powerful was the Soviet army? Because, if you look on paper, you can see how the size of France's army, its relative modernization. There are definitely some things that aren't quite as modern by the Germans. But then you look at what the Germans beat their ass so fast. So you got to say, but is the German army more powerful than the French army? You go, well, the Germans beat the French, so it must be. Maybe. Or is it just strategical and tactical decisions? I'm not saying training doctrines like we were just talking about, how to integrate motorization into the frontline combat operations. And again, I want to say, how well is your reconnaissance? I don't think the French reconnaissance was set up nearly as good to feed its information back into I'm sure, especially at the higher levels, I'm absolutely sure, but feed its information back into the decision-making chain of the French army. Where the Germans, they had somebody up front, and early on, they had most of the armored cars, they had a little, antenna on them. You can see that are the reconnaissance types. And I believe they're both sending and receiving units. Some of the early tanks were receiving units, but they had both sending and receiving units. But the range of the radios isn't very far. It's sort of like, hey, yeah, everybody in the tank platoon or the armored car platoon can hear you when you talk on the radio, even if you're sort of separated out a little bit, as far as a platoon kind of thing would get separated, they can hear you relatively easy. But because of ground interference, radio technology, radio wavelengths, and all this stuff that I barely even understand, I'm not saying I understand it really, but barely sort of get the idea of it. All of that's going on, and the knowledge at the time, because you can do very small radios that work very well today that we know better. But at the time, the battalion or whatever command post, radioed command post, it's maybe out of the range. That's why you had early on, and they got better antennas later on. Early on, you see the sort of tubular frame on the reconnaissance vehicles, primarily armored cars, that sometimes could be rated to lower the sort of tubular frame. And that was to have greater length of antennas to be able to talk to higher command authorities. So if that vehicle got knocked out, your radio communication to higher authorities may not be nearly as reliable. I mean, and it's not necessarily 100% reliable even then. So the information of spotting stuff and how quickly it gets to, you know, the tactical commander, if you will, and then to the strategic commander. And I'm not necessarily talking, you know, whatever sort of, because it was somewhere over here, you know, sort of the whole front commander. You know, I don't think it was exactly at this location, but wherever, you know, the sort of West Front commander was, not necessarily talking at his level, but corps commander kind of level. How quickly does information, reconnaissance information, get up to there and then get passed back usefully in, you know, sending reinforcements or whatnot? You know, whether it's the battalion sending in an extra company, or the corps command, whether shifting a division or just sending some other battalions to reinforce a particular division or something. How quickly that happens. I'm not just talking about that the Germans were better at, and they were better at that level, but it may be the whole, you know, von Manstein plan, you know, attack in Belgium and the Netherlands, draw their forces up and cut them off. And so sometimes you can have a less powerful army just because of decision-making kind of elements to it that defeat, you know, you have blundering commanders and non-blundering commanders kind of thing. And so I don't know for sure whether Germany's army was just more powerful than the French and British armies, or whether it's command decision and it may be both. It may be a combination of both that allowed for such a sweeping victory. Okay, Schurplant doctrine is advanced. I really do like, I want to give a shout out because I get, okay, we are not ready to do this because we're gonna, I don't know, this is 5:10. Okay, we'll probably do that at some point. I do want to get done, what is it? What are we looking at here? Schurplant doctrine. Okay. Schurplant, okay, that's already in 38. Yeah, I guess we're gonna stop that. I guess we're gonna do a 36 technology first. Keep that going. Let me give the medal for money. Yeah, military history visualized, and other similar channels that do, and I learn a lot from there, but then I try to analyze what I learn from that to better understand things, and then try to pass them, hopefully in an interesting storytelling way to you. Okay, road network advance. That is what, under construction. Okay, road network advance. Not that we can't continue there, but I think it would be better to then move to oil refining, because that's our next biggest sort of worry here that we're pushing forward a bit ahead on. And okay, no way am I, well, maybe this metal's a bit heavy, but usage, but we're sort of kind of catching up to that. Okay, and that I think is, yeah, road network level 2. They've sort of said, and well, till May, maybe a bit long for 2.5% modifiers. Basically, you know, way expanding, integrating, you know, the autobahns and whatnot into the road infrastructure. Yes, okay, which of course that helps. And what also popped up, inefficient small caliber anti-tank. And yes, coal to oil conversion will be our next improvement. We would give the metal for money. Okay, let's look at, I know America wanted to sell us things and there's in a deficit, which means we're probably not going to be able to sell them more stuff. Spanish state, they got money, they need supplies. No, not willing to go for our deal. Let's come up here. Soviet Union, do you want to buy supplies by any chance? No, it would mean you wouldn't have to. You could build more units to be better defending against somebody who might decide to attack you. China, okay, China has a surplus of money. Could use some supply, but I don't know. They're not going to buy from us. Hey, Germany, we could know. Philippines, because it's a puppet, won't do anything. Okay, they want Hungary's a metal. Okay, well, can we sell them some metal? Okay, they have a deficit of that. Let's see, we'll give them 2. Hopefully keep them, just a little teeny bit of money, but still, they accept, better than not having it. United Kingdom, they don't have much money, they need supplies. Let's see, okay, very likely. Yeah, they just have, okay. Impossible, we'll go with the very likely instead of impossible. They have accepted, stop, okay. And they have accepted very good cavalry exploitation, which I think is done. Okay, I don't know if there are, well, we're going to come up here. Don't know if there's any more events. Might be something still in the essay that might help that research out that we no longer need. Just keep that in mind, that you might stop that and start that back up again, 38 or 39, and more efficiently use your research. Okay, coal product. No, we want to do steel next. Short barreled tank gun advance, very nice. Yeah, not that we so much need coal processing, but we might. Oh, we'll do industrial. Yeah, industrial up here. Industrial production, that is more needed right now than coal. No, we want to go to over 2,000 here. Come on, game. Armored car designs have advanced. Very good. Cancel. Okay, yes, and yes. We'll do the 12 first because 12 will take longer than 7, so we'll get that done first. Okay, the first international winter sports watch. Basically, this is Germany. You can see the nations participating there and the flags, including Britain, Japan, Czechoslovakia, Sweden, whatnot. So Poland. So yeah, Germany is some on the bad books on some of these people, but not bad. And this is basically just continuing to use the Garminch, Parkinson, or whatever facilities that Germany built for the Winter Olympics, continuing to use them for winter sporting competition. But it helps us improve our relations a little bit with some of these nations. I wonder if that was enough to say with Britain here to go, oh, well, they're already in a deficit. Okay. Soviet Union. Come on, but I don't think they were attendees. Yeah, no, they weren't. Pretty sure, but Turkey. No, we're again computer 2000. Oh, is production coming? Oh, we could use reinforcements. Yeah. So much. Okay, I see that we've got done that. We're producing. Yeah, we're into some of that stuff. Wood. What is it now? It's Hanover. Yeah, we're going to continue to push here. Production, I think. it's our one sort of really efficient use. This will be helpful, yes, but we're getting 1.4 out of it now. You can see the various benefits to it. Getting a second thing there will help. I forget exactly what the modifier is, but it's not necessarily all that efficient use of our ICs to improve this. Now, very well can, if we can't take the Soviet Union fast enough, be like, damn, any more oil would be useful to be able to make fuel to keep us going. Any of it would be worth whatever ICs I can stick into it. Absolutely. But I've been able to take the Soviet Union, or take the oil areas of the Soviet Union fast enough to deal with that. Okay. Right, okay, they're no longer going to give us money for fuel, damn. Okay, decree of the Führer and the Chancellor. The foundation of the German noble to avoid embarrassing process for the future. I've ordered to avoid the embarrassing process for all future. I have ordered as of today the foundation of the German national prize. Okay, so we have a national prize or not here. That's just a translation. This is coming out of the idea that the Nobel Prize was an embarrassment, and Germans are banned from being part of it. So we could lose some organization, or we'll lose a little bit of money making some stuff. They can just print up the Reich mark. So I don't think it should be a big money thing. Lose a little dissent, gain some popularity. Wonder who will be the first recipients of that. And we're going to stop this here. We're going to save manually. Great. That was a manual save, and I wanted to do it at the end of the month. Well, we're going to end the episode here. Come back for the next episode for, well, maybe more than a month, depending on how much I need to talk about things. But we will be continuing this in, hopefully tomorrow, or otherwise near future. So come back next time for more Hearts of Iron.